to entry.
Well, let's talk about some of the issues you're going to talk about, like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And I want to get your views on both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Sure. But before I do, who will you be voting for, Ralph Nader?
I never say who I vote for. I'm certainly not going to vote for either Hillary or Trump. Listen, if I don't have a third party to vote for, I'll write in my vote. I will never vote for someone who is going to engage in illegal, armed force, unconstitutional, killing innocent people, selling Washington to Wall Street, and driving our country into the ground, all the time sugarcoating the American people on TV with rhetoric.
So the idea that some people have that is very much pushed about swing state strategy, you don't agree with?
No, because it's very easy. Let's say you're in a swing state and you think that the least worst candidate is Hillary. What you do is you go with a Trump voter who thinks the Trump voter is the least, and you trade off. You say, look, you won't vote for Trump and I won't vote for Hillary. Let's make a deal, and then we'll vote for whoever we want to in terms of our conscience, third party or whatever. There are already computerized systems for this underway. You can actually join the network. And now get rid of that. But what Bernie Sanders never talks about is if we had proportional representation, instant runoff voting, all the spoiler stuff wouldn't be around. And the idea of calling a third-party spoiler, using the First Amendment right to run for office as a politically bigoted word, and it should never be tolerated by the American people, because everyone has an equal right to run for office. Everyone's going to get votes from one another. So they're either spoilers of one another or none of them are spoilers.
People refer back to your presidential candidacy in the midst of the Al Gore-George W. Bush race back in 2000.
Sure.
Talk about you as the spoiler. You have always said this is absolutely wrong. Why?
Well, it's wrong from a First Amendment point of view. First of all, you should never tell anybody to shut up. And when you run for office, it's free speech, petition, and assembly. It's the consummate use of the First Amendment. But here, it's a scapegoating. The Democrats could never get over how they couldn't beat this bumbling governor from Texas who couldn't put a paragraph together and has a horrible record, children and women and pollution, et cetera, policy, right?
You're talking about George W.
George W. Bush. So they scapegoat the Greens. So here's how it goes. 300,000 registered Democrats in 2000 in Florida voted for Bush. Blame the Greens. Thousands of people were misidentified as ex-felons by Catherine Harris, the Secretary of State for Jeb Bush, governor of Florida. Blame the Greens. The butterfly ballot, which is very deceptive and got people to vote for exactly the opposite candidate in South Florida, blame the Greens. Scalia's political 5-4 decision, which blocked the Florida Supreme Court's full recount in Florida, blame the Greens. The Electoral College took the victory in the popular vote from Gore, blame the Greens. Gore loses his Tennessee state, where he represented in Congress for years, blame the Greens. It's total scapegoating. It's disgusting that extremely smart people who happen to be Democratic Party apparatchiks, like Howard Dean, who's now in a corporate firm that lobbies for the healthcare and drug industry, by the way, and never identified as such by the New York Times and others who quote him, he's now reviving this 2000 nonsense.
We're going to break and then come back to this discussion. Ralph Nader, longtime consumer advocate, ran for president 4 times. He has a new book out. It's called Breaking Through Power. It's easier than we think, and he has a 4-day conference next week demanding people break through power. Stay with us.